Dear Sangha, can you hear well? If the thumbs go up, means that all is good. Thank you. Thanks very much. So it's a delight to be here. Many faces I recognize, some not so much. But thank you for being present on this beautiful or rainy Sunday morning. So good, we will start with a guided meditation. I sense that most of you are very familiar with sitting meditation. So this is a very simple guided meditation, and there's no particular subject other than just coming back to oneself, just settling, just coming back to your body and breath. And often images are helpful, and I've used this image before. I like to use an hour class, and a little bit the process of meditation is just letting things slowly settle. So I like visuals, so this is one visual that sometimes is helpful for my practice. So essentially in this short sitting, all we need to do is actually nothing. It's just let things settle. There's a few things. So the first is the settling process. Is coming back to your posture. I think everyone is familiar with a stable posture, comfortable, upright, stable. Other element is about the coming in touch with a sense of being grounded. So essentially that means bringing your attention to what is most tangible, especially in the body. And then perhaps from the body, noticing key elements like the breath, and just letting things rest. So it's not interfering or trying to change, or even the idea of trying to practice may interfere in that process of just being present, just settling, and making sure that the attention has an anchor, is grounded. And as I mentioned just now, the body is a good anchor, and breath too. And then the other element is just simply being present. Everything else is revealed, so to say. So we will start with the sound of the bell. And I use the sound of the bell to come back to my breath. And I normally start with a couple of deeper in-breaths and out-breaths that really help. Just the organic process of settling into the body, allowing the in-breath to expand, allowing the out-breath to rest, allowing the senses to calm, allowing the mental activity to also calm. Breathing in, I am aware of my body and of the breath. Breathing out, I settle in the body and of the breath. Aware of this body aware of this breath settling. If you notice that you're not feeling grounded enough, then you can take a couple of deeper in breaths and out breaths. And begin to feel those areas of the body that are in touch with the ground, that carry the weight of the body. So your mindfulness returns to what is tangible and physical, the sensations, feelings, the weight of the body, the movement of your lungs, sensation in your limbs. So this is the grounding, gradually grounding process. Coming back to your center, coming back to yourself. Breathing in, I am aware of the activity taking place in my body. Breathing out, I'm conscious of this activity and give it space. Aware of the activity in the body, offering space. So we are aware that our body is solid, but is also moving inside. We are aware of the solidity and physicality, but we are aware also of the sense of flow, the subtle sense of tangling sensations keep changing, moving. Solidity and fluidity at the same time. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm sitting here and now. Breathing out, I rest in the here and now. Sitting in the here and now, resting. Being here and now is not a rigid awareness, it's awareness of change, awareness of flow, awareness of solidity, awareness of feelings and thoughts. These things are present, but they don't need to push us around. Breathing in, I go towards the silence within myself. Breathing out, I go towards the peace within myself. In, coming in touch with the silence. Out, coming in touch with the peace. Being gentle with ourselves, being caring with ourselves. Bringing kindness and compassion to ourselves. Knowing that the suffering is there, but also peace is also there. Taking care of our hearts and minds. Taking care of our emotions. So, dear Tide, dear Sangha, we have completed this short guided meditation. So we'll pass the mic, so to say, to Brother Phap Lai. Thank you.
Dear respected Thai, dear UK Sangha, yeah, this is Brother Phap Lai, and I am very happy to be here. And I'm just still in the meditation, I think. Thank you so much, Michael. It was very, very lovely, and yeah, provides a good basis for the a sharing on basic practice, which is connecting with our title for today's theme of embracing ourselves, embracing the world, and maybe seeing the connection between the two, and how one can lead to the other. So um, yeah, I will begin by saying that there is a lot to talk about if we talk about just taking care of ourselves. That's a lot. So to imagine then going from bringing that to taking care of the whole world seems a big leap, and there seems to be many things in between, like just taking care of our cat, taking care of our friends, our loved ones, taking care of our inbox. And it all seems sometimes we've got so many things to take care of, and it becomes a to-do list. It becomes something we have to do so many things. And so when I think of that, I think of something I came up with was a to-be list. The need for also a list of times in the day where we just practice to be. And so what we take time out for today is just to be, and to touch that sense of wellness that can come when we just allow ourselves to be. And yeah, we let go of the doing. And the kind of doing that can come from just being is of a very high quality as well. So we don't have to feel that giving attention to being, to this sense of touching, and we can say being peace, being in peace, is somehow not relevant or disconnected from our actions. Indeed, if we truly want our actions to be meaningful, then we want them to come from that place of truly being in ourself, so that it's really truly us that is acting, and we're not just reacting. We're not just trying to sort of on automatic pilot, just trying to firefight or respond to a situation, but rather we're coming from a place of peace, and then even the small actions become meaningful. But going back to taking time to be, that is, the time of meditation and mindfulness. And even in that aspect of taking time to be, we see this in a sense there is a lot to do. Embracing emotions, recognizing what is there, and that actually can be quite, even in itself, can be quite a challenge for us to know, how do we do this being, and how do we embrace what is there in order to just touch a sense of peace, touch a sense of well-being. So we know, in principle, we would love to just act from this place of being, this place of pure peace. We'd love to be able to be in touch with an ocean of peace in us. That is the name of the meditation hall in Deer Park Monastery. It came into my mind. We'd like to be in touch with our Buddha nature. Our Buddha nature is our mindfulness. It is our concentration. It is our compassion. And we all have it. Whether we are signed up to be Buddhists or not, we have our Buddha nature we have our, we can touch compassion in us, and we offer it first to ourselves. And compassion and mindfulness, they go together very well. I see a calligraphy on the gallery in front saying, "Peace begins with your lovely smile." And the smile is a Buddha smile because it has mindfulness, awareness in it. And when we smile like that, we are in touch with our compassion. And when we have our eyes closed and we're aware of what is going on in us, and we smile to that, we are coming from that place of compassion. And it is our Buddha nature smiling to ourselves, smiling to what is in us. We start with the body because, as Brother Michael shared in the meditation, it is this physical thing that we can be pretty sure is there, even if we've lost somehow a touch with it, maybe by too much screen time or too much thinking, etc. So to get back in touch with the body is partly because we cannot deny, if we're having a problem being in touch with our body, that we need to, there is something up. We're a bit disconnected. So it's a good check to see if can I be in touch with my body right now? To know that, yes, we are actually touching genuine mindfulness, not just an idea of mindfulness, not just an idea of being in ourself is where we want to take refuge. Sister Annabelle, Sister Chandok gave a lovely talk about taking a refuge in the island of self. It's the other day. So when we come back to ourself, and we are able to smile to ourself and connect with our body, we can say, "Aha! I'm arriving here in the present moment, in this body, in this life, and I'm touching what is real, what is true. And I'm touching it with my love." Yeah. And if you notice there is part of you that doesn't relate well to your body, that is maybe maybe angry because something is not going right, or ashamed because you've not been taking care, we recognize that too. That is a mental formation. And we say, "Oh yeah, I have some parts of my way that I relate to my body or think about myself, in touch with my body, where I maybe even have some fear or something like that." So we recognize that too. And we also smile to that. And that is the beauty of this practice, that whatever is there, we recognize and we can smile to it. And this is for me why Thai would always use the term embracing, which is the title of the talk, when he talked about bringing our mindfulness to be with what is there, because it has this aspect of compassion. Embracing as a mother embraces her baby. Embracing as a mother can embrace her child or an elder sister. That might be an image that helps you if you think of your mindfulness embracing your fear. or your loneliness, or just pain. It may be a different image works for you, but it should have this aspect of unconditional love and a kind of non-fear that also goes along with compassion. When we talk about compassion, we are not just talking about empathy and sympathy, but connecting to what is with capacity to be able to be there like a solid friend, or like the mother with the baby. Yeah. So how we can cultivate that capacity to be there is also part of our practice. We need to practice for periods of time, sometimes before we build up enough energy to say, okay, I have enough mindfulness energy and space in me to be able to embrace this. There are times when we may be even frightened to sit on the cushion because we're wondering, what we will find there. When we come back to ourselves, if we find some difficulty, it can sometimes overwhelm us. In these times, if we see that there is something, even we think about it, it causes a kind of overwhelm. But we know that we should not be avoiding it. We ask ourselves, do I have enough mindfulness? Are my arms big enough to embrace this? As a mother would a baby, am I big enough to be in touch with this? And if the answer is no, says no, you haven't got enough yet. Your arms are not wide enough yet to embrace this. You're not stable enough yet. Then we know we need to take time to really be kind of easy on ourselves, but in such a way that we're building that stability. So we don't have to, we tell the part of us that says, I really need to take care of this. Yeah, I hear you and I'm going to come back to you. But right now I need a walk in nature. I need to sit. I need to just concentrate on my breath, be in touch with my body, to build that capacity in me, to touch that ocean of peace in me, so that that is available for us to be able to be together. So if the fear feels bigger than your mindfulness, you have to increase your mindfulness. That's the basic maths. And the same goes with your loneliness, with your anger, with jealousy, with feeling of any mental formation like that. So when we're able to take time in the day to cultivate the energy of mindfulness, we know we're building that capacity in us. And we can look at our day, and this is what Thai did for us, right from his most early book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. And look, how can we integrate mindfulness practice into our daily life? So it's not just for the short times that we may schedule sitting meditation. And then we have all of the ways we can do that given to us, like given to us on a plate. And I'm thinking of eating meditation. So we can have the practices like just taking time to really enjoy our food. mindfully chewing, really seeing the color of the vegetables. Hopefully you're vegetarian by now. No judgment, just encouragement. Because it's good for the world and our body. So you see the color of the broccoli, you see the color of the carrot, and you really see it, yeah. And you really chew that food instead of chewing the thoughts, which are usually just circular and not really going anywhere, but just kind of we have the expression chewing the cud. Instead of that, we chew our food with gratitude and love. And gratitude is another element, another beautiful sign that we have arrived, that we really are practicing well. If we can touch gratitude, even there are things not going well, but we can touch gratitude. And it puts us also, it gives us rather an energy which we can build with. So in the Anapanasati Sutra, I connect this talk a bit to teaching that I'm giving with novices now on the exercises 9 to 12. It talks about taking care of the mind. So it begins with 4 exercises for the body, the breathing, and then the next 4 are for feelings. Michael shared about noticing tingling sensations and things like this, the kind of feelings you notice. And Tai connects that also to emotions. But when we go to the mind, we also are in the realm of sometimes emotions and states of mind, like fear, a fearful state, a dispersed state. And we know we want that peaceful state. So the first exercise is just aware of the mind, awareness of the mind, this mere recognition. How am I right now? What is going on in my mind? We're in our body, we're with our breathing, and we pay attention. How is my mind right now? What is going on? We name it. We name them the mental formations, perhaps. But we don't, at that point, as far as these exercises are concerned and connected with what I'm saying about first building our stability, we don't immediately try to do something to embrace or to take care. We just recognize this is what's going on right now. This is awareness of the mind. And then before we recognize who's in the room. We say hello. We've done a check-in with all of our mental formations that are present, all the things that say they need to be taken care of. And then we go to the second stage, and it's gladdening the mind. So this is part of, also shows up at this kind of, this staging shows up in our guided meditations all the time, that and I've been sharing about smiling to what is there. So this is a way to gladden the mind. So this is exercise 10. And it is a way of also saying, making the mind happy is another way of saying it, gladdening the mind. And the smile is a good way to start, because the body and the mind are very connected. So just smiling to ourselves physically already does something. And if you can produce the Buddha smile, the Buddha half smile, you're really going quickly into that gladdening the mind place. And the next stage, the next exercise is calming the mind. So it's also recognizing when, if there is a mental formation where there is some anxiety, some dispersion, some stress, loneliness, whatever it is, that with that mind which is able to touch happiness and smile, that smile, you now go to those mental formations that you did recognize were there, and you bring your mindfulness energy to, and you have those arms which can embrace, you have that peace which can soothe. And then there is a stage, liberating the mind. And this is can sound quite grand. And sometimes you just have to use the word liberating the mind, and it gives you something you can't quite put your finger on, but somehow maybe the body and the mind that are beyond the thinking and the analytical somehow know what that means. And there is an act of kind of a letting go in it when we liberate something, just letting go. And one aspect of letting go for me is letting go of the sense of it being about me, but letting go into something bigger. I am this body, I am this mind, I am this person, but I know I can get caught in that as a small part of what I am. So allowing ourselves to let go into something bigger, a bigger sense of self. So this can happen. And if there is a fear of letting go, that is also quite natural. And we can smile to that fear and say, it's okay. I think we can do this. We can let go. When there is any mental formation that is somehow stopping you to go deeper in your practice, stopping you even to have concentration, you say, yeah, I really love the idea of concentration, but my mind like this, it keeps on doing these things. Get curious. Curiosity is also a factor of awakening. It also belongs to the Buddha mind. Be curious and say, oh, this part of me that really, what is it that's happening here that is stopping me go into deeper concentration? And by the way, concentration, one way of thinking of it, it only means building more mindfulness, just having more mindfulness energy available for us to bring to what is there. But it also is characterized by being able to really stay without the monkey mind taking over so easily, to really be able to stay with the object of our meditation. But if we're having a problem to get there, we can check in and ask ourselves, what is that is going on here? What is it that is blocking this process? What is it that doesn't want to let go? And when we kind of sense, yeah, can I just let go of that? And if it goes, it allows you then to step into this next stage of being able to go deeper once again and released from that thing that was kind of, in a way, you could say sabotaging your practice. But if it's very resistant to letting go, then maybe you have to go into conversation with it. When we have a mental formation or something going on that is quite resistant to simply being asked to let go and let us do the practice as we feel we should, we can go into conversation with that part of us and say, okay, what are you frightened of would happen if you didn't do this, if you just allowed me to really be with my breath? And you might say, well, I'm worried that you'll an emotion might come up and swallow you up, or something like this. You may find that you get a very clear response if you ask a clear question to the part of yourself that is sabotaging or blocking or just not not playing the game. So that is part of curiosity, part of investigation. So we cultivate mindfulness, we investigate what is going on and we get to this point of having also this possibility of liberating the mind into something bigger than what we normally think of as ourselves. And guess what? That bigger sense of self is very wonderful to touch. And it has completely includes you. But there is more space and there is more sense of freedom. Freedom to not be caught in your usual identity, the usual ways you think about yourself. There's so much more possibility in that bigger space. And also there is a sense of it gives you, again, more energy freed up to be able to relate to what is previously felt a bit overwhelming. Because when we're not just caught in our small sense of who we are, we're in touch with something more than that. We can bring that has a bigger arms to embrace what is there. So I would say being able to take the sense of this is me with my mud and trying to make a lotus out of this big pile of mud and not sure how to do it. And then when we get to that, when we are able to say, it's not just, take away this limit of who I think I am facing this thing, we find suddenly there's more possibility. And the seed of the lotus, the seed of awakening, is in our way of relating to ourselves. Because it is this Buddha nature of compassion and mindfulness. We don't have to find a special seed called the awakening seed, unless that helps you, if that works for you. But I'm just saying, because the awakening seed its non-awakening elements are things like this compassion. Mindfulness is awakening itself. Curiosity and spaciousness, these qualities, joy and connection to what is truly there. So we start off by saying connecting to the body, to this body, this soft animal. Mary Oliver's poem, I always think of that expression, this loving the soft animal of this body or something. And just when you really feel, oh, this is my face, this soft animal that I am. There's a Talking Heads song. I used to love Talking Heads when I was young, called that, where there's this line, I'm just an animal looking for a home. And sometimes I feel like that's partly, connects with this practice of finding our home. But when we talk about the spiritual home, it's much bigger than just a physical place. Yeah. So I swiftly moved to link this practice to embracing the world. Because when I talk about liberating the mind, when we make an experience of that, we can realize that we are much more than we thought we are. And there are so many ways we can expand and realize the truth of our connection to the world. And we can start with something very straightforward, like seeing that actually I'm also my other members of my family. My interbeing with them is very clear and concrete. My son, my daughter, my father, my mother, etc. And I kind of alluded to our the animal nature we have. So recognizing our animal nature, we're also suddenly in touch with all animals. We are a fellow animal. And that is a beautiful thing. Yeah? And therefore, and then we go beyond and we see the plant kingdom, the broccoli that we're chewing, we feel our connection. And of course, very soon we get to realize that we are in our interbeing nature with all that is, the sunshine in the carrot, etc. And children understand this very clearly, but to make an experience of it in our meditation practice, whether it's actually during our eating or during our exercises of breathing that we do on the cushion, we can touch this nature in such a way that changes our life, changes the whole life. Once we touch it, we know that reality is bigger than the one that I was limiting myself to. And you kind of, once you've seen it, you can't unsee that. You can lose touch with it, but you know you've seen it. And you know it's worth everything to stay in that connection, stay connected from that. And that, in a sense, then allows you to connect with the truth that this so-called self is the whole world. So when we embrace ourselves, we are embracing the world. That is maybe the punchline to the talk. There is no dualism between ourselves and the world. But there is so much suffering in the world. And so how can we possibly have arms big enough to embrace that? How can we bring that kind of suffering into view? The first thing is to recognize it is there and that it is part of us, it is us. Not to deny that it is something outside of us, because that conveniently allows us to feel we don't have to connect with it, we don't have to relate. But as in the 9th exercise of breathing, we know that we're not ready yet, perhaps, right? And so we give ourselves the space, but we are aware and we do know, yes, this also belongs to me, this suffering in the world. This is also part of my destiny, my being. And then gradually we build our practice to have those big arms. And Tai always said that this is not something, finally we'll get to this level, this is not something we can do alone. This is something we need a collective awakening for. So our arms have to become Sangha arms to do this kind of embracing. But we need to do our part as this individual cells in the Sangha body to have that capacity to really be part of that embracing the world. And we do that for our children and for ourselves and for all living beings. Thank you.